Welcome back. Today, we're diving into one of the most wild, dramatic, and pivotal moments in modern history, the Boxer Rebellion. I mean, this is a story that has it all: mysticism, fury, and the unbelievable moment an ancient empire literally declared war on the entire world. And that really is the central mystery, isn't it? How on earth did a secret society made up mostly of peasants get so powerful and so furious that they provoked an invasion from pretty much every major global power? Well, let's get into it and find out. Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the pressure cooker environment of China at the time. Then, we'll meet the Boxers themselves. After that, the dramatic siege of Beijing, followed by the world's overwhelming response. And finally, we'll see the devastating price of defeat. Okay, so to really get the Boxer Rebellion, you have to understand the world it exploded from. By the end of the 1800s, China's ruling Qing Dynasty was in a really bad spot, weakened by fights at home and, crucially, by more and more aggression from foreign powers. This era is known in China as the Century of Humiliation, and for good reason. After losing the Opium Wars, China was basically forced to sign one unfair treaty after another. Foreign powers weren't just trading anymore. They were carving out their own territories, making their own rules on Chinese soil, and sending in missionaries. All of this just chipped away at Chinese sovereignty and traditions. And this right here really shows you the problem perfectly. China was literally being partitioned. You had Great Britain controlling the commercial heartland, Russia pushing down from the north, Germany grabbing a key peninsula. The Chinese people watched as their country was sliced up like a melon, piece by piece. You can imagine the resentment that was building up. And out of all that anger and desperation, something new started to bubble up. And this wasn't some formal army or political party. No, this was a true grassroots uprising, straight from the villages of northern China. Their official name was the Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fists, but Westerners saw their ritual martial arts and gave them a nickname that stuck: the Boxers. At its heart, this was a movement of ordinary people, farmers and workers who were suffering through horrible droughts and famines, and they blamed all their misery on two things: foreigners and Christian missionaries. Their slogan was so simple, so powerful, and so direct. At first, they were actually against the Qing Dynasty, but they quickly shifted their rage entirely onto the outside world. This chant said it all. They wanted to rally behind the weak government, to violently kick out every last trace of foreign power. And this is where the story becomes just so tragic. The Boxers truly, genuinely believed that through sacred rituals and their martial arts, they could make themselves immune to bullets. Just think about that. They were charging headfirst into modern machine guns and artillery, armed with swords, spears, and this incredibly powerful, mystical faith. So, everything we've talked about so far builds to the single, explosive climax. In the summer of 1900, thousands of Boxers flooded into the capital, Beijing. And then, in a move that changed everything, the ruler of China, Empress Dowager Cixi, threw her support behind them. She basically declared war on the world. Their target? The Foreign Legation Quarter, a compound where all the foreign diplomats and their families were hiding out. For 55 straight days, this little compound was under constant attack. Imagine the desperation. The German minister was murdered right in the street, which sent a terrifying message: no one was safe. Inside, food and ammo were running out as a small group of defenders fought off wave after wave of attacks, completely cut off from the world. Well, news of the siege and the murder of a diplomat sent absolute shockwaves across the globe. The response was immediate. An international relief force was put together, a military coalition unlike anything the world had seen before. They had one single goal: march on Beijing, break the siege, and punish China. And just look at this list: Japan, Russia, Britain, France, the US, Germany. This was essentially the world's superpowers, all united. This wasn't some small colonial fight. This was a full-blown global intervention. The Qing Dynasty and the Boxers had picked a fight with the world, and now the world was coming for them. After they fought their way into Beijing and lifted the siege, the alliance didn't just pack up and go home. Oh no. They sent out expeditions all across northern China to hunt down anyone suspected of being a Boxer. The suppression was swift, it was brutal, and it involved a whole lot of looting and destruction. So, with the rebellion crushed and the Empress on the run, China was forced to the negotiating table. But let's be very clear, this was not a negotiation between equals. This was a surrender, plain and simple. The document that came out of this was called the Boxer Protocol. And it's so important to understand that this was not a peace treaty. It was a punishment designed to humiliate and permanently cripple the Qing Dynasty so that it could never, ever challenge foreign powers again. The punishment was just staggering. China was ordered to pay 450 million taels of silver. To put that number into perspective, that was more than the government's entire tax revenue for a whole year. It was a debt so huge it was designed to be crippling, and it would hang over the Chinese state for almost 40 years. And that crushing debt, that was just the beginning. Top government officials had to be executed. Foreign troops would be stationed in Beijing permanently. The forts protecting the capital had to be destroyed. China was banned from importing weapons for 2 years. It was a complete and total surrender of sovereignty. For the Qing Dynasty, there was just no coming back from this. It was the final fatal blow. The humiliation, the crippling debt, it completely destroyed any legitimacy they had left in the eyes of their own people. And sure enough, just about a decade later, in 1911, the last emperor of China stepped down, ending more than 2,000 years of imperial rule. So how should we look back on the Boxer Rebellion? Was it just a violent, misguided, and ultimately failed uprising? Or despite all the brutality and the crushing defeat, was this the spark that lit the fire of modern Chinese nationalism? A fierce, powerful determination to resist foreign control that would go on to shape the entire story of China in the 20th century.